Thank you very much for this stimulating talk. As was described, the world economy and the society is starting to change significantly, and the Japanese companies are also starting to switch the electricity they use in business or operation to renewable energies. And would like to hear examples from three companies with specific examples. And would like to hear from Mr. Takashi Tsuruta from Sony to talk about the state of introduction as well as their future plan. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Tsuruta from Sony, and I would like to talk about the example of a company, and I would like to make my presentation spending about 20 minutes. Now, from myself, I will talk about Sony's environmental activities overall. Then after that, I will like to talk about RE100, the roadmap towards achieving RE100. So I'll explain that roadmap. This was explained last year when we explained management policy, and this diagram was used at that point in time. Sony will aim towards achieving sustainable social value and creation of high profitability. Because we are a company, we need to achieve high profitability. But in order for us to achieve high profitability, we need to also create sustainable social value at the same time. So that is indicated here. The social value that Sony creates over a long-term perspective. This was discussed among the leaders at our company. And Sony is a company that provides a sense of excitement. In other words, we are a community of interest. We make people's heart richer, entertainment, recently medicine, and into the future, contribution towards safety in the autonomous driving era. So the camera technology that we used to use in a camera, sensing technology, for example, is now utilized for sensing for autonomous driving, which will enable us to contribute towards safety. So in creating and providing this type of social value, we want to also give due consideration to the environment and human rights. And we feel that such an undertaking is becoming more and more important. This type of corporate posture, where does this come from? It comes back to our founding philosophy. Sony was established after the Second World War, but back then, the founding philosophy of the company was that through technology and innovation, the company wanted to contribute towards the post-war reconstruction of Japan. And this mindset is retained today, and through the various innovation of Sony, we want to help to overcome various challenges faced by the society. So that is at our heart. And let me now turn attention to our environmental activities. Sony in 1990 and have issued the President's the policy and notification related to environmental conservation. Our President was visiting overseas and at a certain beach saw that there was they smashed the glasses on the beach, which made him think. Sony uses glass. In other words, they actually used to make a lot of TVs that uses glass. So unless they are recycled, the TVs that Sony was manufacturing would eventually cause pollution on the earth. So he realized that, so he came back to the company and issued a statement and established a global environmental committee back in 1990 and established environmental policy and established the environmental action plan to achieve that the policy. That was done in the early part of 1990s. Then we have obtained ISO 14001 and for all of the manufacturing sites around the world. And in 2006, the 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 goal or the objective of Sony must be acceptable by the world. And so we decided to participate in the climate savings program promoted by WWF. And in 2050, we are going to make environmental load down to zero. And from that long-term perspective, we have created our environmental plan, Road to Zero, and currently working on a Green Management 2020, which is an environmental midterm goal. And last year, we have joined RE100. So from 1990, Sony has continued to engage in environmental activities quite steadily. Road to Zero, I've mentioned this just before, but by 2050, we're going to make environmental load down to zero. And that zero, in order to achieve that zero, not just the building up on what we are doing right now, but in order for us to achieve zero in 2050, what do we need to do? So we are backcasting from that goal to set objectives. Sony, as it engages in manufacturing, we do generate environmental load. So in each of the stages of manufacturing, as much as possible, we try to reflect the four perspectives: climate change, resource, chemical materials or substances, and biodiversity at its base. And we use these perspectives to set our environmental objectives or targets. And now, we are working on the Green Management 2020, and we are about to start fiscal year 2019. So we have about one fiscal year to go. So we are now making the last part. But at the same time, we are putting together the Green Management 2025. We are putting that together. And what needs to be included into that, the Green Management 2025. It would include things like what we discussed today, the concept of circular economy. We'll try to embed that into our goals going forward. So we are doing that work right now to put together such a plan. Green Management 2020. These are the priority goals. Sony Electronics is, of course, but we have movies and others, the entertainment. So we want to set the targets that encompass all these business departments, and not just the manufacturing stage, but we need to look at lowering environmental load overall, inclusive of upstream and downstream to manufacturing. And we want to accelerate the introduction of renewable energy, which is the main theme for today. And these are the three main priorities of Green Management 2020 we put together some 4 years ago. And what's shown here is the global trend related to the recent environment, and various countries are now working towards achievement of Paris goals or Paris Agreement. We do have countries departing that, but still the companies or local governments are still saying that they will still work on achieving goals there. There is also a movement towards ESG investment. So we as one company will continue to do what one needs to do, and that stance of Sony remains unchanged. And renewable energy is the major theme today, and so I'd like to talk about what Sony has been doing in this respect so far. In September last year, we have participated into RE100. It's not the case that we've done something new at that point in time. That's how we look at the situation, because as Sony, we have participated in 2000 for the establishment of the green energy certification system. And in 2008, or fiscal 2008, the European operation. So we have achieved 100% renewable for the electricity we use for our operation in Europe, and this 100% continues to today. And in 2015, we will have set a target, specific target, in order to accelerate the introduction of renewable energy as part of the Green Management 2020. And as part of all these, we have decided to participate into RE100. Now, for Sony, RE100 is one step for us to achieve Road to Zero. And the goal for Sony as part of RE100 is that we will achieve 100% renewables by 2040. So I'm repeating myself here. The electricity that we use ourselves for operation around the world, this will be made 100% renewables by fiscal 2040. And a milestone to get there, the target for us in fiscal 2030 is achieve 30% renewables. We could say 50% because it's still 10 years out, but there are a number of reasons for us to set this target at this point in time. And the forum like today is relevant in this respect. The expansion of renewable energy introduction, there is a limit to what we can do as a company. So we'd like to collaborate with others to further promote utilization of renewable energy. So that's also one of the reasons why we decided to participate into RE100. Next, I'd like to talk about the roadmap towards achieving RE100. And what is shown here is all of the manufacturing sites of Sony around the world. As for the numbers, Japan, China, Thailand, Malaysia, Southeast Asia, we have many manufacturing sites in these countries. But in terms of amount of CO2 emitted, though the number of sites may not be all that different to the Asia or Southeast Asia, in Japan. Japan mainly manufactures semiconductors. In order for us to produce semiconductors, we need very clean air. In other words, we end up using a lot of energy to produce semiconductors, and so we have the CO2 emission. We have quite high CO2 emission because we use a lot of energy. In fact, amount of CO2 we produce at Sony, 80% comes from Japan. And manufacturing of semiconductors is to be increased under our medium plan, and so this proportion is likely to become even larger going forward. So given that backdrop, for us to achieve RE100, 100% renewable energy, is not an easy target for us. We are fully aware of that, and Sony involved in industry. The fact that we participated in RE100 is quite significant in that respect because we are not facing an easy challenge, but still we decided to participate. Then fiscal year 2017, about 10%. That's the level. But we will continue to raise that, and by 2030, the RE proportion will be increased to 30%. We've already achieved 100% for Europe. So Japan, US, and China, we will increase the RE ratio, and after 2030, the amount of renewable energy to be introduced in Japan and cost, we will be more proactive. And we expect the infrastructure to enable us to use more renewable energy will expand post-2030 so that we will be able to achieve 100% by 2050. And we are not going to just choose one method, but we will combine various methods in order to do this. One is introduction of renewable facilities like solar into our own site. We already have certain examples. Sony UK Technology Center located in the United Kingdom. We already installed solar facilities like this. And this one is located in California, the headquarters of Sony Pictures Entertainment. We have introduced the solar panels. Number of plants in Japan have also introduced panels as well. And we also have a number of locations where we are in the state of installing the solar panels. One is the plant in Thailand, and the photo is showing the current situation. I think we are doing the wiring right now, and this is located in Kumamoto, a very large semiconductor factory. And we have to cover the Sony logo, but still the same, we are going to cover the roof of this factory with all the solar panels. It was quite a significant decision we made there. Next is that we will introduce solar panels, but if we have sites where we cannot use up all of the power generated at that site, we want to also introduce a self-transmission the scheme in such an instance. And we will be using transmission lines of the utilities in order for us to be able to utilize the electricity we generate in one site in other of our site. And so we are working on negotiation in order to enable this. So let me explain this in more detail of the sites that we own. We actually engage in the warehousing, and the warehouses often use a very large area, but they're not engaged in a lot of operation. So in areas like that, we'll end up generating more electricity than we consume at that site, so there will be excess electricity, and not selling that, but we try to utilize that electricity in the manufacturing site that we have nearby. So we will be going through the power grid of utilities, but still the same, we will use the electricity ourselves. And to do this, we have to use the grid, and so we need the grid connection real reform. And this is a material that I've taken from the Agency for Natural Resources and Energy. And so the government is working on reforming the scheme for the grid connection. And they are mindful of reducing the costs associated with renewable energy. So we like to see this type of policies being promoted even more. And that is the opinion of the users. And we try to explain our position when there are opportunities like this. And apart from introducing solar power directly, we could also purchase the renewable energy generated by utilities. And already we have started to use schemes like Aqua Premium, and Aqua Premium is electricity that does not produce CO2. In other words, this is the electricity generated by hydro power plant of TEPCO, and we are using that, the power generated at our headquarters in Sony City. I think we were the first to sign this, and we want to continue to expand on something like this. And also the green energy certificate, we were the first, but now the scale used is, as you can see on the slide, and if there are a good project, we want to continue to expand the project that we will involve ourselves in. And so we'll combine various methods and continue to expand, but at the same time, we will also look at the new method of the procuring the renewable energy, say, for example, virtual PPA or the blockchain renewable energy procurement. It's not the case that we have an immediate plan to introduce something like this, but examples or something like this. And our company likes to do things new, so using your wisdom and using your support, we want to adopt something new like this as well, so that we can achieve RE100 by year 2040. And not just for ourselves, but we want to ensure that renewable energies are used more broadly across the society. And I'd like to seek your continued support in this respect. I apologize for the fact that I spoke very quickly, but with this, I'd like to complete my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tsuruta. Just like Sony, domestically and overseas, next company is also promoting the use of renewable energies. That is KAO. We have Mr. Manabu Shibata, manager of ESG of KAO. He's going to talk about the company's effort to use renewable energy to reduce CO2 emission. Thank you for the kind introduction. I am Shibata. I'm with KAO. Thank you very much for inviting me to this meeting, and I would like to talk on this topic. Before I start my presentation, on the right-hand side, you can see a picture. From 2010, we are organizing International Children's Picture Contest, focusing on environment. The 7th event, 2016, this picture was awarded. This was drawn by 8-year boy. The title of the painting is The Nature I Like Most. And also the wind power and solar power, which we use to live every day. This is the source of our energy, and we are using such energy as we enjoy our life. So I wanted to draw how people are enjoying their lives in healthy and wholesome way without damaging the natural environment, including water and so forth. So we would like to bear this in mind in conducting our day-to-day business. So this is what I want to talk about today. First of all, I would like to briefly introduce the company. The company was launched in 1887, and the net sales is about 1.5 trillion yen. And the consolidated number of employees is about 33,000. The business is as follows. Every day, many people are using our products. So these are the products we are selling. So they account for 80%, namely consumer products account for 80%, and also the remainder is occupied by B2B chemical products. So we use our raw materials and use a chemical process to sell our products. Therefore, we have a very big chemical process plant. That is one of the features of the company. This is the net sales by region. 65% comes from domestic market. And many companies do have such a like a constitution. This is KAO way. In our mission, we say that we would like to strive for the wholehearted satisfaction and enrichment of the lives of people globally and contribute to the sustainability of the world. So in order to achieve that, we are going to pursue yoki monozukuri, good manufacturing, and constant innovation, and walk the right way. Last year, we published this. ESG activities has such a key message. We would like to fill our life with beauty and cleanliness. We want to fill people's mind and day-to-day life in the society with beauty and cleanliness so that KAO can contribute to the good future of people and the earth. So in order to carry out these activities, we have 3 main domains of activities with 9 priorities. And we want to promote lifestyles with no environmental burden, and we want to create a society where anybody can live a healthy and comfortable lives, and we want to become a company which is trusted by the society by walking the right way. In 2050, the world will be such that our day-to-day life today will not be sustainable. In other words, we wash our body every day, we wash our hair every day, we use clean underwear and clothes, and in 2050, we won't be able to keep such a way of life. We have a sense of crisis. Therefore, in order to have that sustainability, what can we do? So we have an environmental declaration issued in 2009 together with various stakeholders, we are working together. The message is that we would like to create a spiritually rich everyday life in harmony with the nature. So we have 3 eco messages: eco together with the customers, eco together business partners, eco together with the society. So we would like to be given opportunity to do something for good environment. Next topic is GHG, emissions reduction efforts at Kao. Today, the reason why I was invited to this meeting is, although Kao is not a member of RE100% yet, however, we are quite active on environmental front. That is why we were invited, I guess. Now, as of now, we have the challenges toward 2020, the target for 2020, scope 1 and 2, compared to 2005, minus 35, LC CO2, minus 35% compared to 2005. However, we are very challenged. And scope 1 category, scope 1 and 2 is about 8%. And also supplier 35%. And this is a breakdown of our emission. So against this backdrop, like other companies, we are reducing our footprint. We are reducing our activities, and at the same time, we are doing something to reduce emission factor. We have different categories for the management of such activities. Today, we are discussing renewable energy sourcing. Therefore, scope 2 is relevant. And also, scope 3, the CO2 emission factor has to be reduced in the society. In what way could we contribute to that? Now, how are we promoting the use of renewable energy? We introduced the renewable energy in 2010 in Tokyo Logistics Center when we installed solar panels on the roof of the facility. At that time, solar panels are becoming more commonly available. However, our company's engineer said that, is this really usable? So we conducted a test on this site. That is how we introduce a panel for the first time, and we have a diagonally installed panels, and also CASB certification was needed, and we wanted to test the impact of solar panels. In this way, we use the test cases to try out renewable energy. This is the introduction of panels. And the other side, the other topic is the sourcing of renewable energy. Like Sony, from Europe, we started our efforts for sourcing because of the cost. So this was a cost-driven effort. And of late, the captive generation solar panel is about 0.03%, so almost nil. And this part, 30%, and the denominator of the formula is the total electricity consumption of the company. So that's the situation. But more recently, in the world, in the society, and within the company, we have a major developments. Externally, I don't have to mention what's happening, but in our company, we are seeing different movements. Toward 2020, Kao wants to transform itself and become a company to lead others by example. So at various layers, various levels of the company, and in various functions, we are making efforts. So constant innovation is the key here, as I mentioned earlier. Now, so based on the internal culture at the various levels of the company, we have to be able to explain, or the actually people on the ground are saying that why are we not introducing more renewable energy? RE100 kind of goal is not set for us. However, how Kao can engage ourselves in using more renewable energy. We have various meetings at various levels of the company, and we have been having a very thorough and active discussion internally. Then, renewable energy, we want to introduce more of it. We came to a conclusion. Therefore, in order to introduce solar panels, back then, it was not economically viable based on the existing investment decision criteria. Therefore, we changed the rule about investment decision-making criteria, and we use the internal carbon pricing. That's how we call it today, but we had something to that extent back then. And by using internal carbon pricing, we increased the use of renewable energy, and by changing internal rules, and people on the ground were more and more motivated. So my division, together with other divisions, have been trying to create an environment conducive to more use of renewable energy. As a result, internationally, solar panels are being introduced in various countries in our facilities, and renewable electricity as well domestically in Odawara factory came first, introducing renewable energy. Ehime, Tochigi, Kashima, Kawasaki factories have been starting to source renewable energy. In sourcing renewable energies, the utilities which are supplying energies to us came up with good proposals, and these utilities are providing the renewable energy to Kao. So consequently, in 2017, as of that year, this was the percentage, 3%. And of course, the introduction was not on the 1st of January of that year. However, we made it annualized. So for solar panels, 0.0% has gone up to 0.4%, and also purchased renewable energy 3% to 15%. In total, the share of renewable energy has gone up from 3% to 15%. Going forward, we would like to expand this portion, and we would like to implement various measures to do so. Another challenge recognized by Kao is a cogeneration. In the beginning, I said Kao is engaged in chemical products, chemical process business. We have a high temperature, high pressure environment. Therefore, we have to use steam, and steam consumed has to be utilized effectively. However, we want to use the steam in order to generate electricity. This is just natural from the perspective of energy. That is why we introduce cogeneration. And that is actually hampering our effort to use 100% renewable energy. So this is a major challenge for us. So renewable energy methane supply is perhaps the easiest, lowest bar to cross for us, for the company. I don't know if that is good for the society, but I hope that we'll be able to discuss that issue on the next occasion. Thank you very much.
Mr. Shibata, thank you very much. Already in the United States and Europe, we are seeing some companies achieve or are approaching to achieve 100% renewable energy. One of the companies is IKEA, and therefore we'd like to ask Mr. Shinichi Takenaka from IKEA Japan to give us a presentation. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Good afternoon. My name is Takenaka from IKEA Japan, and I am in charge of sustainability, so the time is limited today, but I would like to ask for your cooperation and support. Now, first of all, very briefly, I'd like to introduce our organization, IKEA, to you. IKEA, it's a home furnishing company originating in Sweden, and we sell 9,500 items of furniture, and we have 355 outlets throughout the world, and the number of visitors is 817 million visitors, and our total revenue was 34.1 billion euro for fiscal 2017, and in Japan, right now we have 9 outlets, and 4 in Kanto, and 2 in the Kansai, and 1 in Sendai, the other in Kyushu, and recently in Nagoya, we have 1 outlet. And furthermore, we had distribution centers, 1 in Nagoya, and online store is also something that we are conducting as a business. Yes. So IKEA, we want to provide a comfortable day-to-day life for as many people as possible. And when we say many people here, we mean not just our customers who purchase from us, but distribution, manufacturers, and people who are involved in raw materials. We are including all people. And especially from the young people, they are more conscious of the environment, and they are saying that they want to procure and purchase only from companies that are more aware of the environment. So we are cognizant of this. So this is the business philosophy of IKEA, by providing good design and good functionality. We provide home furnishing product in a broad area at affordable prices. And so to consumers throughout the world, we want to provide our products so that they can lead very comfortable lives. So it's not just limited to the very affluent, but throughout the world, we want to provide comfortable daily lives to as many people as possible. And I'd like to explain a bit about the roots that we have at IKEA. And this is in Sweden. This is a typical house. And IKEA in 1943 in southern Sweden, in the region of Småland, this was where IKEA was born. And last year we celebrated the 75th anniversary of our organization. And the origins of the company IKEA, Ingvar Kamprad was the founder, and that is for IK, and Imtali Farm and Anagrab Village, so abbreviated it's IKEA. And when we registered the name, Ingvar was only 17. He was the founder, but he was only 17 when we registered the name. And the region that he grew up in, there are no crops that grow because the natural environment is very severe, difficult. So with collaborators in the village to make very efficient use of the resources available, there was indispensable. So this is where the philosophy comes, and this is our founder, Ingvar. And he passed away at the age of 91. in January 1918, and he said that wasteful use of resources is mankind's biggest sickness. By incorporating the IKEA way in how we handle resources, small efforts can accumulate into big results. These are the words of Ingvar, our founder. So within limited resources, to make utmost use of them. This is a tradition. This has been incorporated in our genes, our DNA, and this spirit, this philosophy, is reflected in the value system that we have throughout our organization. So in the development, distribution, how we sell, the spirit is incorporated specifically. Actually, all of the goods are flat pack distributed. So in order to decrease the transportation tariff involved, and as a result, it has been contributing to the reduction of CO2 in transportation and distribution. So we are trying to reduce wasteful use of resources, reduce the costs, and by providing, as a result, lower priced products to as many consumers as possible. This is basically what we are doing in our business. So we go to society and the environment we want to make zero or the negative environment, but not just that. We want to make positive contributions to the environment. So our business, so when we look at it on the longer sphere, economic growth and contribution to society and environmental protection, all these must be pursued simultaneously. So to provide comfortable livelihood to as many people as possible is a part of our philosophy. And in the future, I think the spirit is indispensable. So sustainability in that sense is not separate, but actually is integral to the core of our business. Also, in 2012, so when we plan for people and planet positive, we have been able to make great advances in the way we do our business. And so we are seeing growing disparity and advanced climate change. These are disturbing trends. And so we have to reset our targets even higher to make positive impact. And last year in the summer, as we head toward 2030, we set even higher targets when we had a Sweden meeting in Sweden, and so we are supporting the spirit of people and planet positive. And as example, for example, by 2030, as the previous speaker has said, the circular economy, well, IKEA products. We want to make all our products from recycled material or 100% renewables to contribute to a circular economy. And disposable plastic we like to ban by 2020, and by 2020 all in our business establishment, we like to produce more energy than we consume, and of course we like to produce our the energy and the power from renewable energy sources. Now, as our business grows, normally CO2 emissions increase, but the greenhouse gases we like to reduce as we grow our business, and we position this idea as one of the very important ideas that we must pursue. And in order to support sustainable way of life, we have 500 products and services, so conserve energy to decrease water usage and to be able to segregate disposed waste. So we are providing various products that contribute to this. In 2017, 1.72 billion euro. And so this is to try to promote these products as many consumers as possible, and by this we can contribute to improving environmental impact. So I think we have been able to grow, but also be kinder to the environment. Now these are LED lamps lighting. This is a wonderful product, I feel, and we'd like to continue selling LEDs in the future as well. Until the development of LED, we had energy-conserving light bulbs, and I'm sure some of you have already used this, but it took a lot of time to develop these energy-conserving light bulbs, and it took a lot of time until these light bulbs really became luminant. It was difficult to use, but by changing over to LED lighting, we were able to contribute to CO2 emissions because more people actually did use LEDs. And in 2017, 85 million LED light bulbs were used. And if you replace the conventional electric light bulbs with LED, it will save 850,000 household power, and by we are selling them at 99 yen, and so we want to lower the bar to the consumers by selling them LED. They can contribute, and so purchasing an LED, that action itself is very small, but by working with the users on an accumulated basis, this will have a big impact. So we do intend to sell by 2020 a cumulative base of 500 million such LED light bulbs. And in the Davos World Economic Forum, Mr. Jasper, our CEO, who participated, gave a presentation, and IKEA by 2025 will aim for home delivery on a system where the vehicles will be either EV, electric vehicles, or zero-emission transport vehicles. And by 2020, Amsterdam, Los Angeles, New York, Paris, Shanghai, we intend to implement this, but by 2019, Shanghai, we will be 100%, so we will be able to implement this 1 year in advance in Shanghai. And IKEA's e-commerce, internet sales, and so for urban distribution, this approach is indispensable. However, from the trucks, a lot of CO2 is emitted, and we feel responsible for this. And at the same time, in multiple cities, air pollution is a problem. So there have been various rules, regulations that have been incorporated in many cities throughout the world. And we feel that this is preparatory work that we need to do to use EVs and zero-emission vehicles. And for EV chargers, by 2020, we want to make in all our operation sectors EVs that can be charged, and also electricity will be provided to our co-workers, our employees. So we'd like to establish an infrastructure so that we can provide power to EVs, not just for our use in-house, but for our employees and other people as well. And all our outlooks, we will shortly be able to incorporate EV chargers in all our outlets. And by 2020, the energy that we will be using within our facilities will be exceeded by the amount of renewable energy that we can produce. So we will be producing more than we consume. So when we say 100%, you feel that is a very large number, but we set it at 90%. A lot of people are going to try to figure a way to accept the 10%. So, of course, 100% is a very strict target, but I think it's very easy to understand when you try to achieve 100% of what this means. So cotton and salmon from 2015, we are procuring from sustainable sources all the cotton that we use in our products. And also specifically, these are the results. The results of fiscal 2017 for wind and PV, 2.4 terawatt was the power produced, and the rate of renewables used was 73% from 2019. 1.7 billion euro we invested in renewables, and we will continue to make investments until we reach 100% renewables by 2020. And we had 441 wind turbines and 750,000 solar panels. And in Japan, in all our facilities and stores, we have on the roof solar panels. So if you come and visit our stores, we hope that you will look at the roofs. You will be able to see all our facilities have solar panels, and this contributes not only to low carbon societies, but as a business, it's fully viable. This has been proven in our business. So by making proactive investments, we can lower our costs, and as a result, to our users, we can provide high quality products at lower prices. In IKEA, we would like to provide to as many people as possible a very comfortable day-to-day life. And in fiscal 2018, the results will come in. I'm sorry I cannot share the figures with you now, but very soon the sustainable report will come out. So we hope that you will access this and look at this on our webpage. So we like to be people and planet positive. So thank you very much for your kind attention.